Today I'm going to show you how to fix ABS plastic, and it is a different process than fiberglass. Almost every product has some bit of ABS plastic on it, and occasionally it tears or cracks and you have to fix it. So this particular piece is a spare tire surround on a 1975 Ferrari. All right, so you can clearly see there's a nice sized crack in here. But this is also bent in because of the crack. We need this to be straight. You've also got the part that shows, which is patterned. You try to do as much of your work on the back side of a repair like this so it doesn't show. Yeah, otherwise you'll have to replicate patterns, and that's damn near impossible. All right, I love this aluminum tape. Neither fiberglass or epoxy really sticks to it, so you can pull it right off after your epoxy hardens. Of course, getting it apart, that's another matter. So we're going to put this again on the nice side, and I'm going to press this up. And I make a little bit extra so it doesn't, I raise it up above the repair. So there's different ways to do this. The idea is we need to get this flat. A stick could work in some situations. I think for this, we're going to take this little piece of 2x2 and some clamps and just clamp this on. I'm going to use a little bit of the paint stick just so we don't damage the plastic. This thing's a little old and brittle. I think we'll be able to patch it up just fine, but I'm trying to be sensitive to the hell that it's been through in the last 50 years. All right, so this is straight across. We can now start to make the repair. So before we actually patch this, let me show you how to sand another one. You have to let this sit overnight, so to make this video less than 24 hours long, we're using the magic of TV to do multiple steps at a time. There are various tools you can use to sand. I love this little air-powered jitterbug that I just picked up at our local body supply place a couple weeks ago. For the fine work, like trying to get into this groove, a Dremel tool works real well. So let's get some air in here and I'll show you how to sand this down and prep it for paint. All right, you're also gonna need some safety gear to do this. I like an N95 mask, earphones, and then some kind of an eye protection. I have to wear glasses, so I generally get fairly large size glasses. They do a fairly good job of keeping stuff out of your eyes. All right, so we've sanded this piece. As you could see, it was thin right here and we broke through, which brings us to a good point about all this. This generally takes a couple shots as you sand. It's like working body filler. You put it down, you sand it off, you fill in what you need to. So as we fix this piece, we'll clean up the back side of this. Remember, this is the back side. The part that shows is in here. So we're trying to do all our work on the back side of this piece. All right, let's move this out of the way for a minute and I'll show you how to mix up the epoxy. All right, the first thing I'm gonna do is put on some gloves. The reason I'm wearing gloves is this stuff's sticky and nasty, and the less of it you have on your skin, it's probably better for you. This is a two-part epoxy. It's called Super Bond Epoxy. Any auto body place or a lot of hardware stores, a lot of places have a two-part epoxy. But that's the best stuff to use. What I like about this is it dries fast. You could probably sand it in just 3-4 hours. I'll generally try to time my work so it goes overnight. That way I know I'm never dealing with sticky plastic. The key is, once these two are mixed, you've got about 20 minutes working time. And if you take a stick and put it in one and then put it in the other, you've ruined the rest of the product for next time. So you need to be pretty careful. You put out a dollop. You're supposed to mix this about 50-50. So I've used one paint stick for one side and one paint stick for the other. And I've kept the two apart, trying not to mix them so I can get my quantities about the same. That looks about 50-50. So we'll close these up, and now you can use one of the paint sticks. As a stirring stick and put the other one away. You're supposed to mix this stuff up for about a minute. The more thoroughly you mix it, the more uniformly it will be hard in the morning when you come back to it. Ask me how I know this. I learned most things the hard way. If you don't mix this well, you'll get some gooey spots, and they're tough to sand and tough to paint. Now that we've got our epoxy mixed, we'll bring the piece back in and we'll go to town. All right, at the beginning of this video, I told you couldn't use fiberglass. It's not entirely true, because what you do want is some kind of a material to go over this to help bridge the crack and keep it from splitting again. They make a specific tape to do this that you can pick up at an auto body supply place, or fiberglass mat is pretty perfect to do this because it has the strands and it basically helps tie the whole repair together to keep it from cracking again. The other thing you have to do before you get started is you have to rough up the area you're going to epoxy. It will not stick to a shiny plastic. So this is about an 80 grit, and I'm basically just sanding this to make a rough finish. And then you'll want to take a little bit of your prep spray and clean this up just a little bit and let that dry for a second. All right, now we are ready to lay in our epoxy after we put in a little piece of this mat. So this is just lightweight 3-pound fiberglass mat. I like the lighter weight because you need to get this epoxy all the way through it. If you use a number 5 or 10, it's thicker. You won't be able to get your epoxy all the way through it. So we're going to just make a little cut here. So it basically just made a little piece of mat that we're going to put right down in the repair. Can everybody see that okay? All right, so to do this, we take this epoxy, and again, you've got about 20 minutes working time before this hardens up. You can alter the working time by the amount of hardener that you put in, but if you mix them 50-50 as you're supposed to, that's about all you got to work on this. So what I'm doing is I'm laying a base coat in, getting a little bit thick here, and I'm pushing this into the repair to get the epoxy all the way through it. And yes, this is messy, and yes, the fibers will stick to your fingers, but it's all part of the joy that is ABS repair. All right, then you would take a second coat, or not a second, but then you take the rest of the epoxy, and then as smoothly as you can, go over the top, again, making sure you're pressing it in. You don't want anything to be dry in there. And the smoother you can make it, the less you'll have to sand it. All right, this is essentially how you fix ABS plastic correctly. Once this is dry, tomorrow we will go back and sand it. Now let's talk a little bit more about sanding. How much you sand something and how thin you make it depends on what kind of clearance issues you have with the piece, how much structure it needs to have. Obviously, if you put your epoxy on 1/4 inch thick, it will be stronger than if it's a 1/16 of an inch thick. So it depends on how the piece is used. This piece basically sits in the trunk, so it probably won't come apart again. If you like this sort of stuff, we're always doing these kinds of videos. Please like and subscribe to our channel, and check out our website, because this Ferrari, as well as every other project we ever work on, is on our website, classicmotorsports.com. Thanks for coming. I hope you had a good time in the shop with us today.
Support brands that support Classic Motorsports. Get your chemical solutions from CRC Industries. Visit crcindustries.com to learn more. If you like this video and want to see more, make sure to hit that subscribe button and like this video. And to see more stories like this, visit us online at classicmotorsports.com.